the hairy man, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, woolly booger, skunk ape. Just feel free to private message me on Facebook, or let me know on the podcast. Also, there is one thing too you got to consider too, is the migratory patterns of these. You're going to find that these things are all over the place. You got the yowie, okay? You got the Yeren, okay? You got all kinds of them. You've got the Yeti. You've got the rock ape, in Vietnam. And I have a lot of good friends that were in Vietnam. I have one that was a helicopter pilot. He was a real good friend too. A lot of the Vietnam vets, they don't talk about it, but some of them had run-ins with what they called the rock ape. And they called them rock apes. They were about 6 feet tall, maybe no more than 7 feet tall. And they used to. Yeah, they were known for basically picking up these rocks and throwing them at the Vietnam vets when they were out in the jungle. And the thing about it too, they would come and go and disappear like you wouldn't believe. It was amazing stories that I've heard from a lot of the Vietnam vets that I know. Anyways, there's so many different. I've heard reports of yowies in Australia being violent. I've heard them being the kind of just stare in people's windows and not bother them. It just depends. Like anything in life, you're gonna have your good and bad. Even with humankind, you've got good and bad, as we all have known recently in the recent years that we've seen. So it's all on how you basically treat them and treat their environment. Always do it respectfully. And that point is done. And I haven't been to Vietnam, so I don't know personally about the rock apes. So, but I personally wouldn't like it if I had a bunch of rocks thrown at me. I know that. So those guys over there that fought in that police action, as so they call it, they were very, very brave men and women. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. And check out go to Yahoo search and just type in nighthawkshighstrangeness.com, and it'll take you right to the new website where my blog is at. I probably have about 7 or 8 entries already on the blog talking about my childhood and growing up in a haunted house. And a lot of you that don't know this, my mother was a witch, and she practiced black magic. So that has a spin on it too. And a lot of the reasons why the house and property was the way it was. But I'm going to be going through every bit of that on my blog at nighthawkshighstrangeness.com. Okay? And I hope you all get there. There's a place on there for, comments or reviews, or if you have a question or anything, or you want to submit something, just let me know. There's information there for you all to do that, okay? Also, my podcast can be listened to on Spotify. It can be listened to on Spreaker. It can be listened to on Reddit and LinkedIn. So, you can pretty much find it anywhere, as long as you type in, Nighthawk High Strangeness podcast and on any one of them, channels, and it'll take you right to it, okay? I'd like to thank you all for being patient with me. The good news is the cancer is is not treating me as bad as it used to, so I'm starting to get my strength back. So I will be out and about this summer to see everybody, hopefully, if everything goes okay. So on that note, I want to thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you later. Have a good day. Goodbye. Okay, we're back. Nighthawk High Strangeness. I'd like to talk a little bit about the high consciousness theories out there, the Matrix theory, how human beings could achieve such a high frequency vibration that they could open portals to other dimensions or whatnot, or levitate themselves or objects, or all that kind of I don't know what you'd call it, human consciousness science, I guess is what you would call it. It's been my observations over my years of being around Native American ceremony and doing Native American ceremony and all that in order for us to achieve a higher consciousness, that we would be doing the Sundance ceremonies or the Humbleacia ceremonies, the Vision Quest. We'd be tracking out more to be one-on-one with Mother Earth and everything around us, to build up our personal vibrations, I guess is how you would call it nowadays. We would call it spiritual strength, our sacred medicine. But yeah, there is a big awakening going on today, that is for sure. And how people perceive it and what people do to achieve it. I've heard of people conducting themselves, walking through fire, achieving a higher, consciousness vibration, energy vibration. I've heard them walking on crushed glass, which I wouldn't recommend either one, unless your vibrations are really up there and you can levitate across it. But yeah, I hear and I've seen some things that that people have done that's pretty amazing. You can even look at some of the modern magicians. Tricks and mirrors and stuff, smoke and guns, and all that stuff. But there is a thing inside each human being. All jokes cast aside, each human being, you almost think of it as a light, okay, in your center of where your sternum is, okay? Just picture that being your light, and picture your heart and your mind being like a dimmer switch, okay? And your eyes and your mouth, your nose and your hands and your ears are your ways of turning that dimmer switch on as bright as it can go, or as dim as it can go, or off completely. And that's basically the way we are designed that way. God created us obviously for a higher purpose. Each of us is unique in our own way. Each of us has different frequencies that we could put out. Each of us have different abilities that we can have. You have your empaths, you have your psychic beings, the people that can talk to beings, from other dimensions or the spirit world or whatnot. You have healers. You have, I mean, there's just all kinds of different abilities that people can achieve through higher consciousness. And there was a monk over in Tibet, and he was able to achieve such a high consciousness and vibration, his energy vibrations, that he was able to levitate himself, sitting down, Indian style, sitting down with your legs crossed, nothing underneath him, and he was able to levitate himself off the ground and just float for as long as he wanted to. And when he brought himself down off of that higher elevation of consciousness that he achieved, he slowly brought himself down. He gradually brought himself down to the ground again, to where he sat on the ground. That is what I'm talking about tonight. That is what everybody has the ability to do, believe it or not. Anybody that knows anything about the Sasquatch theories knows that there is a good amount of us that believe that somehow the Sasquatch Bigfoot tribe have been able to tap into that higher consciousness to achieve certain almost mystical ways of being. For the invisibility thing, like a lot of people report seeing the orbs floating around, these Sasquatch and Bigfoot, and I've always said that that's their chi, that's their energy, their life force. That's how they travel between, this dimension to the next, and to the spirit world. And that's just through oral tradition of my people, and there's that belief that they achieved that, and if they can do it, we should be able to do it too. And that leads me back to the CE5 contact app that I have on my phone, which is Dr. Greer's group. And I'll tell you what, it's a pretty amazing app. I mean, when you meditate and all that, and you focus yourself, you can achieve pretty much, a very high consciousness level, to where you can feel the universe around you, first off. And we're all part of the energy in the universe, Each one of us, we're affected by the universe, and the universe is affected by us. It goes back to that old Native American saying, too, that, we're all connected in the web of life. What we do to the web, we do to ourselves. And that is true. That is very true. And we have to keep that in mind every time we walk outside and interact with the environment, with other people, with animals. We need to realize that we are all part of an energy field in this universe, that it's like you put out the good energy, you only get good back. You put out bad energy, what are you going to get back? Either nothing or bad energy. So I don't know, it basically comes down to how you want to live your life in this world. I do believe that Christianity, the vibrations. I mean, if anybody's ever gone to like a holy rolling church, like an Assembly of God church or something along that lines, a Southern Fried Baptist church, where they really dance in the spirit and they get that elevation of spirituality up, and they're dancing and praising the Lord and all that. And if anybody has ever seen that or been part of that, you achieve such an amazing euphoria like status of being, that it's amazing. It's amazing how and you can almost feel your body shaking in the power of God, the Creator, giving it to you. That it's amazing what the human capability is, and that is with divine intervention too. At least, in that